Qur'an recitation in Arabic by the age of 5. So I would challenge people on the gospel. So for me, it was a matter of trying to prove that those things didn't happen. As I was trying to disprove those things, I realized the evidence for Jesus' death, deity, and resurrection was very strong.
So let's try again. Is God a man?
No.
Is Jesus a man?
Yes.
So Jesus is not God.
Yes, he is. They're equal.
You just said God is not a man.
Here we go again. Another Muslim podcaster thinking he has dropped the mic on Christianity.
I know the Quran more than anybody on this panel.
But trust me, this mic is still on, and I'm about to crank the volume up to 100. Check this out, guys.
Jesus was God in a human man form.
So in Numbers, God says, I am not a man. So do you believe in that?
God is, yeah, he's not a man, but Jesus is a man.
So Jesus is not God.
Yes, he is. That's the Son.
Okay, well God says I am not. Well, God says I am not a man.
Yeah, God is not a man, but Jesus is. But they're all.
So Jesus is not God, because God is not a man.
Yes, he is.
So let's try again. Is God a man?
No.
Is Jesus a man?
Yes.
So Jesus is not God.
Yes, he is. They're equal.
You just said God is not a man.
Because listen, it's like an egg. You have the shell, you have the egg, and you have the inside. They all are equal.
Is the shell fully egg?
The shell, no.
Okay. Is Jesus fully God?
Yes.
All right. Well, your analogy doesn't work.
It's the Son. It's a Trinity. It's all equal one.
Trinity. Well, I know you think it's a Trinity, but why should I believe in a Trinity?
The podcaster says God is not a man, according to Numbers 23 verse 19. But bro, you just read half the story. Of course, in the Old Testament, God had not yet taken on flesh. But when the New Testament comes, God puts on humanity without losing divinity. That is like me putting on a princely regalia. I'm still me underneath the regalia, but the difference is I now look princely.
It's like an egg. You have the shell, you have the egg, and you have the inside. They all are equal.
Is the shell fully egg?
The shell, no.
Okay. Is Jesus fully God?
Yes.
All right. Well, your analogy doesn't work.
Now, when the Christian lady tries the egg analogy, the podcaster debunks it very fast. But sis, no. My sister, no. Forget egg. Forget shell, forget yolk. That is breakfast, not theology. The reality is the hypostatic union. Big grammar, right? I know. But it simply means Jesus is 100% God and 100% man at the same time. Not 50-50. Not cracked omelette. He is not God minus man, or man minus God. He is both in one person, perfectly united. The podcaster was looking for a cheap gotcha moment, but honestly, he just scrambled the egg and missed the omelette. The podcaster says if Jesus is man, then he is not God. Okay, so by that logic, if I say water is liquid, then ice is not water, right? Because I mean, ice is solid, so it can't be water. Just because Jesus took on humanity doesn't cancel his divinity. In fact, it is the whole point. God became man to reach us where we are. That is the beauty of Christianity. Remember, Emmanuel, God with us. And don't forget that he came to the earth with the primary reason of dying for the sins of men. Hence, he needed to be fully man for the sacrifice to be just. But here's the real kicker. The reason Muslims keep missing this truth is because the mysteries of God are not revealed through arguments or debates. They are revealed through God himself. The Bible says in Proverbs 25 verse 2, it is the glory of God to conceal a matter and the honor of kings to search it out. Even in the Gospels, when Jesus spoke, most people did not understand him. Remember, for example, in John chapter 6, he said, unless you eat my flesh and drink my blood, you have no life in you. Everybody panicked. They thought he was starting a vampire cult. But only later did he explain the meaning to his disciples. Why? Because the mysteries of the kingdom are for those who truly seek God with sincerity and humility. And that is where we get to the second video. This is where things get really, really interesting. Because unlike our Muslim podcaster who just wants to score cheap debate points, here comes Nabeel Qureshi, a man who sincerely wanted to know the truth. He was looking for Allah. He was hungry for God. But in that quest, guess who he found? He found Jesus Christ.
Growing up, I learned how to pray the 5 daily prayers. By the age of 5, I had memorized the last 7 chapters of the Qur'an and recited those regularly. And I actually finished the entire Qur'an recitation in Arabic by the age of 5. So I would challenge people on the gospel. Challenging one specific Christian, for the first time, someone was able to actually respond to my challenge. Islam very clearly denies some things about Jesus. It denies that he ever died on the cross, denies that he ever claimed to be God. Islam denies the death, deity, and resurrection of Jesus. Well, according to Paul, what do you need to believe in order to be saved? If you confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord, believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. The very 3 things Islam denies, you have to believe. So for me, it was a matter of trying to prove that those things didn't happen. As I was trying to disprove those things, I realized the evidence for Jesus' death, deity, and resurrection was very strong. When I realized the evidence was strong, then I turned my eyes to Islam and I said, how strong is the evidence for Islam? When I leveled the same criticisms I had leveled on Christianity on Islam, the foundation fell apart. And so that's when it became a matter between me and God of actually asking him to show me the truth. The only way you can really get guidance directly from him is through dreams. This dream was powerful. In this dream, I was standing at the threshold of a narrow door. At the other side of this doorway was a room that was set with a feast. And I knew in my dream that that room was heaven. I wanted to get into that room, but I couldn't because at the other end of the doorway was my friend David. I couldn't get in because he was blocking the way, and so I looked at him and I said, David, I thought we were going to eat together. And he says, you haven't responded. When I woke up, I told my friend David the dream. He said, Nabeel, this dream is so clear. Just go to Luke chapter 13. And when I opened it up, there was a section there that was titled The Narrow Door. And when I saw it, my heart just stopped. What it says is Jesus was going through the towns and villages preaching the good news. And the disciples said, Lord, are many going to be saved? And he said, make every effort to enter through that narrow door. And you will see people sitting inside at the feast of the kingdom of heaven. I knew that God had given me a dream straight out of the Bible, and he placed me inside a parable, showed me exactly where I was, and he left my decision up to me. It was very clear for me at that point what I needed to do. In order for a Muslim to become a Christian, they have to be willing to give up a lot. It wasn't just me saying, I'm going to change my beliefs. It's me saying, I'm going to leave my family and everything they've stood for. I asked God to comfort me through it. Matthew chapter 5 in the Beatitudes. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Wow. It was like my heart was just electrified into life when I read that, and my life has never been the same.
Can you see the difference? When someone humbly seeks God with an open heart, God himself shows up. Jesus said in Matthew 7:7, ask and it shall be given you. Seek and you shall find. Knock and it shall be opened unto you. Nabeel went searching, and instead of finding Allah, the Allah of the Quran, he found the risen Christ of the Bible.